Commerce Department reported some positive numbers this morning for inventories and retail sales, but are they enough to really signal real strength in the U.S. economy? Dave Haffner, CEO of Leggett Platt, that company is a manufacturer that makes everything from box springs to store display shelving. Actually, they play into a lot of different industry. He joins us now with more on really the outlook. And I love, I was looking into your company, Dave, and you do play into a lot of industries, into furniture, into the office market, into the auto market. When you look at those markets, how would you describe the health of the economy at this point?
Carol, it's interesting. It's sort of a mixed bag. Some of the business units, like automotive, are extremely robust right now.
Really?
Office furniture is finally making a turn for the positive.
Right.
On the other hand, things like carpet pad, things more tied closely to housing starts, quite poor. So it's quite a mixed bag that we have.
What do you make of today's stronger than expected retail sales numbers?
I'm encouraged by them, and when you combine those with numbers associated with the inventories, makes it a little more complicated of an issue. Leggett Platt has actually experienced reduction in our inventories, and yet that's partially due to the fact that we saw some reduction in demand in the back half of the third quarter. We're still year-over-year positive for revenue, but our inventories are staying about 51 days of sales.
Is it tough to manage inventories? And I bring this up, we were talking with our chief markets correspondent, Julie Hyman, earlier, because we have a lot of retail numbers coming out, a lot of retailers reporting, and how key it is for them to manage their inventories. How tough is it for you to kind of keep it in the sweet spot?
Yeah, again, it depends. A couple of the industries that we participate in are extremely lean, automotive being one of those. And so it's really by necessity that we maintain relatively low and just-in-time delivery, low inventories, just-in-time deliveries. In the case of bedding, it's a very bulky commodity-type product.
And that's a big part of your business, bedding, isn't it?
It's a significant part of our business. That's correct. Residential, in fact, represents about 60% of all of our business. Bedding, about 19% of the total company. So some of those are lean by design, but one other thing I would mention quickly is that we changed our bonus programs for our employee partners to allow them to focus more on return on capital, and one of the things that they can really influence is their inventory management. So that's helped too. I
want to go back to housing a little bit, because you do play into that. I think everybody's trying to get a good grasp of what truly is going on in the housing sector. We get some good news, we get some not so good news. People say it's going to take several years to really work off all that excess inventory. Where do you think we are in terms of the housing market cycle?
I'd like to think that it's getting moderately better, but it's really just moderately better. There isn't any clear indication that the next quarter or 2 or 3 or even 4 quarters we're going to see a significant improvement in housing demand.
You don't expect that?
Do not expect that. On the other hand, we will accept it joyfully if it happens a little sooner. It will happen. The question now is it going to be in 2011 or is it going to be in 2012? Do
you feel like the government needs to be doing more? There's so much debate, in terms of what policies we're seeing out of government at this point, whether they're pro-business enough, whether they're pro-consumer enough. What do you think?
I would love to see them become more pro-business,
obviously. Do you feel like they're not very pro-business right now?
I think it's going to get that way with the results of the elections that we just experienced. One thing I hope doesn't happen is that the mortgage interest deduction is not taken away. And while I haven't personally had a mortgage in a long time, it's really important to keep that deduction for the average homeowner.
I want to also ask you about your business specifically in terms of hiring. What are your hiring plans? I mean, that seems to be obviously the major sticking point when you look at the economy. We're still not seeing enough job creation. Again, many say it's going to take a while to get back to those levels. What about you guys?
And at the end of the day, I believe that that is the fundamental, most important element. We have got to get more people to work. We have started to hire people. On the other hand, most of our people are variable labor, so if business wanes, we will reduce our workforce. But we are hiring people, and we're hoping that this improvement that we're seeing, Leggett Platt is seeing, will allow us to continue to hire more full-time people.
Dave, are you waiting for what comes out of Washington, perhaps, before you become more aggressive in terms of hiring specifically?
Yes, to be totally honest, we are to a certain extent. Now, there are full-time hires that happen every day or every week, but we're going to wait and see what happens. And if it's more pro-business and we can rationalize reducing some of the part-time employees and making them full-time employees, we will definitely do that.
Now, in 2009, a quarter of your sales were generated internationally, and I'm just curious, Fed policy, is it having any impact on your ability to sell abroad? And we keep talking about the dollar and again, the stimulative effects that we're seeing from the central bank. How at all, if it is, impacting you guys?
It really doesn't affect us much, Carol. We import significantly more than we export. We have a substantial amount of revenue that is outside the United States, but we will consume materials and labor in those indigenous areas and sell into those markets for the most part. So we prefer a stronger dollar, not a weaker dollar.
Right.
And while I'm...
So that's a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Got 10 seconds. What keeps you up at night right now?
Just love to see more demand, trying to figure out how can we get people in general to be more comfortable with their consumption propensity. So it bothers me. I've got good personal friends. Most people have friends out of work.
It's a tough psychology out there. All right, we're going to have to leave there. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dave Haffner, everybody, of Leggett & Platt.